An agent is only as good as its instructions, guardrails, and actions. Since Agentforce 1, you could manually create actions using flows, prompt templates, and invocable Apex methods. With the Winter 26 release, you can now use AuraEnabled Apex methods to create multiple actions at once using the API Catalog. Let's do it together. Here in VS Code, we have a to-do controller with some AuraEnabled methods for creating, getting, and updating to-dos. This is the same kind of class you'd use to expose back-end business logic to a Lightning app. We're going to create an open API specification for the controller, deploy it to Salesforce, and add the APIs to the API Catalog. From there, we'll create an Agentforce action. First, we'll run the convert source behavior terminal command. This command tells Salesforce to generate the open API spec in its own separate .yaml file. If you skip this step, Salesforce will embed the open API spec inside the external service registration metadata file that's generated when you create your open API spec. Next, we'll deploy our account controller to our org. This step is crucial. The command we're about to run generates the spec by inspecting the Apex controller in your org, not your local files. So we need to make sure that we deploy it first. Now that our controller is in the org, we'll run the create open API document from this class command. This inspects the controller, finds all the AuraEnabled methods, and creates the open API spec file based on those methods. When we run this command, it'll generate our external service registration metadata. We can take a look at it here, and if it looks good, we can deploy it to Salesforce. This will automatically create and register all of these APIs in our API catalog. Let's take a look. Here in Salesforce Setup, we can navigate to the API catalog to see our APIs. There's an API for each method. To create an Agentforce action from our methods exposed via the API catalog, we just need to navigate to Agentforce assets. Here we can create an Agentforce action for any of the APIs in our catalog. We can do this by creating a new Agentforce action, selecting Apex, selecting the new AuraEnabled beta option, and then choosing our method from the list. This is a good approach if you only want to expose one or two methods that you've deployed using the API catalog. If you want to skip this step and automatically generate your Agentforce actions, you can do so by modifying your open API spec to include the agent fields for each endpoint and then deploy the spec. This will automatically create an Agentforce action for each API. This is a great approach for adding agent actions in bulk. There you have it. With the new improvements to AuraEnabled Apex methods, you can now expose methods from your controllers as Agentforce actions in just a few minutes. But do remember, at least at the time of this recording, this feature is in beta and subject to change. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you absolutely loved it and want more, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.